Oh gosh, let me tell y'all about my third baby, my baby child. She just finished her first year at Sanford in Birmingham, Alabama, and we begged her not to leave us. She is so yummy and she smells good and she's funny, and so her daddy and I begged her to go to Phoenix Online. Because she is so fun, and she said, please get out of my butthole and quit staring at me. I'm leaving. So it's been so sad without her, but she's back home now. And but let me tell you about that baby, honey. So funny and so darling. But different from the other two. You know why? Because by the time she got here, I was beat down. I was so beat down. So tired. And just had given up. And their daddy, very successful, traveling around with Clayton Homes. And I know he's with Clayton Homes. We have dental. And so this baby, let me tell y'all about her. I have treated her different from all the other ones, honey, because, all right, everything that she'd do, like she'd start crying when she's a baby, because babies, you know, the third, fourth, and fifth, you know, they cry, and you just let them. And I'd be like, what's she crying about? She wants your toy? Well, just give it to her. I can't deal with it. I remember saying, I swear, I remember saying one time, you want those knives to play with? Okay. What? Okay. When she was at getting her driver's license, so different from when the first one got his. Honey, he got his, and we were so strict with him. We'd say, you can go to school, but you got to call us when you get there. You can only come home. And then after 6 months, we were like, you can go to Steak and Shake. And then you got to come home. So strict. Then the second one didn't care anything about driving, really didn't start till she was close to 17. Well, this baby wanted hers the day she turned 16. I didn't think she was going to pass it because she doesn't care. So, but she did because she's smart. All right, let me tell you, she's one of those kids that, I know y'all know people like this. Like if I gave her $20 and said, make it to New York tonight, she would do it and have money left over. Like she's, you know, people like that, like got it up. Okay, so she passed that test. I was so mad because I thought, oh, I'm not going to have a baby in the car with me anymore, even though when they're in middle school and high school, isn't that aggravating? When they turn that radio up and it's blasting and I don't like that song and booming and a-doing, and then I'm trying to drive and I feel like when I can't hear, I can't see. Oh, I don't know. It's awful. But she went and got that darn driver's license, and this is how different it was raising her from the first one and the second one. She got that driver's license. My husband and I were sitting there at night, and he said, where is she? And I said, I don't know. And he said, does she have any money? And I said, I don't know. Nobody ever said another word. We still don't know where she went. So I found out in the United States there's called competition cheer. And we have it here in Knoxville. It's called the Sharks. Premier Sharks. So I dropped her off so that she could audition or try out or whatever you call it for that. And she came out, ended up making like a bad Mamma Jamma squad because all the little children her age came up to here on her, and somebody's got to throw them up in the air. So they said, oh my gosh, we want her so bad. And they said, you're going to drop her off 2 days a week, and she's going to learn this 2.5-minute routine, and it's going to cost you $150 a month. And I said, okay. And then they said, there's a uniform that we're going to order for her, and it's sequined up the sleeves, and it comes to right here, and it's going to expose her stomach, and then it's going to have a tiny little skirt with it, with a slit in it, with a glitter panty underneath it. And that's $300. And it comes with its own bag of makeup and a bow. And I called it a whore outfit. And that little bag of whore makeup made all the little children look like whores together. And they said, y'all are going to travel to faraway lands, and you're going to compete against other little whore children. So we drove to Atlanta and Cincinnati and places like that. And we'd drive up to a big coliseum that would be pitch black in it. And there would be music pumping and lights, and there'd be a darling feminine boy announcing. And there would be tens of thousands of little whore children walking around. And they would say, you and your husband need to pay $150 for her to be in this competition. And you each need a armband that costs $30 to get in to see your baby in this competition. The corn dogs cost $15. They start out with the little tiny babies. It goes from 5 to 18, so the little 5-year-olds come out, and they are yummy, and you could eat their lips off. And they've got little bitty skirts on about the size of a napkin. And they come out to Beyonce's All the Single Ladies. And their little mamas are in their 20s, and they're not bitter yet. And they're in the front, making every move that their little children are making. Because those little children are babies, and they need to be at home breastfeeding. They can't remember their act. So they go all the way up until they get to my baby's age, and my baby comes out, reef sharks. And for 2.5 minutes, my baby throws little children up in the air. Broken out in a sweat, working like a Trojan. And the whole time, it's the most freakishly tiny little people you've ever seen that she's throwing up in the air. Their little mamas are freakish tiny little people too. I'm from farming country in Middle Tennessee. We grew dark fired tobacco, so I've got thick ankles. I can work in the fields. I don't know who these people are. I don't know how they birthed a little baby. Their little cervix. So these freakishly tiny little children are up on top, and the whole time she's throwing them in the air, they're doing this. And nobody knows why. But this goes on for 2.5 minutes, and then the finale. All the little children hunker down on the stage, and the finale was my baby. They had my baby hop up out of that crowd with a child's foot in her hand. So y'all get what I'm saying. She had a human being up over her head with one arm. And that little girl's doing some kind of something up on top. My baby was a rock star. Thank you. I mean, really, I don't know when's the last, I never held one of my friends up over my head with one foot in my hand. It's a big deal. And the feminine boys went nuts. And they wanted her to stay so bad. They were like, we want you to stay. And she was like, I'm okay. I've got it out of my system. I'm okay. She said, but I'm keeping this whore outfit. She still has it. She says she's going to get married in it.